There is always a calm before a storm. And scene 6 of the first act of Macbeth is like that calm that is experienced before the storm, or the final decision taken by Macbeth to murder Duncan. Today I am here with Act 1, Scene 6 of Macbeth. A very good morning to every one of you and welcome back to English with Passion and Purpose. Be with me throughout the video so that you may be able to understand the purposes served by the scene and how it furthers the action. Scene 6 of the first act continues with the exposition, and this scene is said to serve the purpose of dramatic relief. As promised earlier, Duncan arrives at Inverness, Macbeth's castle, with his two sons, the lords, and when he arrives, it is his reaction and the hospitality shown to him by the hostess Lady Macbeth that is what the scene deals with. Now let us go through the lines of the scene. O boys, servants of Macbeth attending with torches, enter Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus and attendants. Now, O boys is supposed to be a musical instrument like a trumpet that is normally sounded in order to proclaim the arrival of someone important. So, since it is the King of Scotland who is arriving, the sound of trumpets or hautboys is heard, and then Duncan enters along with his train of followers. The moment he enters the castle, this is what he says. This castle hath a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. Now, these two lines by Duncan gives us an impression of the peace of mind that he has experienced after the battles had been won and all the storm was over. That is the reason why he says, the air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. According to him, the castle had an ideal location. It was ideal and it was a charming location, and the air was very fresh and fragrant. Here, the word sweetly recommends, the sweet fragrance of the air draws an olfactory image, and that is felt by the gentle senses of Duncan. Why gentle? As I said earlier, he is experiencing a calm of mind, a peace of mind, and he feels very happy after having entered the castle of Inverness. Banquo also expresses his views by saying, this guest of summer, the temple haunting martlet, does approve by his loved mansionry that the heaven's breath smells wooingly here. He talks about a martlet, a bird, which is like a house martin, which normally is found in palaces, in forts, in temples, in churches. They build their nests over there. So here he talks about the bird that haunts the temples. So this is a very heavenly image that is drawn, and usually, according to Banco, a place where such a bird builds its loved mansionry. Loved mansionry refers to its nest. Mansionry is supposed to be a term that is used with architecture, and a place where the temple haunting martlet builds its nest, over there heaven's breath smells wooingly. Heaven seems to bless that place. Or in other words, the presence of the temple haunting martlet shows that Inverness has a heavenly atmosphere. Now here we have a very strong irony. Irony because we understand, we know, we have the knowledge of whatever has been planned by Macbeth and Lady Macbeth earlier in Act 1, Scene 5. Here, the structural juxtaposition of Scene 5, where the couple is intending to kill Duncan at their castle, and Scene 6, where Duncan admires the castle and is seconded by Banquo, draws a very strong dramatic irony. Because Duncan and Banquo are unaware of what is happening behind their back. They do not know. We as readers and the audience know it. So he continues saying, "No jutty frieze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle." So Banquo says that in every nook and corner of the castle, this bird has built its nest. Jutty, protruding, any protruding or projecting architectural construction. Frieze refers to the top of the pillar, the ornamental top of pillars. Buttresses refer to the supportive architectural construction on walls. And coign of vantage refers to every advantageous corner. What he means to say is that in every part of the castle, whether it's a projection or on top of the pillar, whether it's a buttress or any other convenient corner, the bird has built his pendant bed and procreant cradle. Pendant, dangling, swaying, loosely hanging. The nest of the martin or the house martlet is supposed to be a dangling nest, and that is supposed to be the procreant cradle because the bird lays its eggs and breeds its young the birdlings over there. So the words procreant cradle is supposed to give us an impression that Macbeth's castle is supposed to be a place where everything is creative, everything is positive. Here again, the dramatic irony is, it is enhanced, it is even more strengthened. So Banquo says that wherever the bird builds its nest, where they most breed and haunt, I have observed the air is delicate. So wherever these martlets build their nests, according to Banquo, the air over there is very soothing, very peaceful. Now, enter Lady Macbeth. At this juncture, Lady Macbeth, the hostess, enters. Duncan. See, our honoured hostess. Duncan very innocently and excitedly shows out to everyone that, see, this is our honored hostess, our noble hostess, Lady Macbeth. The love that follows us sometimes is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God ill us for your pains and thank us for your trouble. Now, Duncan over here tries to say that the love of my subjects at certain times causes a lot of trouble to me. But I accept that trouble with gratitude, with thanks, for the sake of love. Similarly, Duncan's arrival at Macbeth's castle was going to cause a little bit of trouble, a botheration to the host and the hostess. But the Macbeths would bless Duncan for giving them the trouble by visiting their castle. So that is what he thinks, that both Macbeth and Lady Macbeth would be thankful, grateful for the trouble that Duncan was giving them by visiting their castle. Once again, Duncan's innocence creates a tension and enhances the irony. The honored hostess poses a question in our minds that can she actually be called honored after what she had said in the previous scene? Lady Macbeth, all our service in every point twice done and then done double were poor and single business to contend against those honors deep and broad wherewith your majesty loads our house. So she pretends to be very, very humble, very eloquent and elegant. She speaks very eloquently, very humbly, and if I may take the liberty, it's glib talk also. Because we know the hypocrisy lying or lurking within her, that she is actually a very cunning and a manipulative lady who wants Duncan to believe that she is very loyal towards him and she is glad that he has taken her hospitality. So she says, whatever service we are rendering, even if we do twice that and even double that twice amount, that means 4 times or 8 times rather of the service that we are rendering to you were poor and single business, would be inadequate, would not be as much as to contend against those honors when matched against the honors that you have lately given to us, that you have bestowed on our house. What are the honors that she is talking about? The honors that Macbeth has been invested with. He has been made the Thane of Cawdor. The honor of the monarch himself visiting their house. All these honors were given to them. They were deep and broad honors, and contending against them or when matched against them, whatever service she is rendering to Duncan is not enough. So for those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermit. So whatever honor you had given us earlier, in earlier times, and also the honor that you have lately given to us of my husband being the Thane of Cawdor, we rest your hermits. We are going to remain loyal followers to you forever. We will remain devoted to your service forever. Hermits over here refer to sages actually, who lead an austere life, a life of devotion. Here, Lady Macbeth's assertion that she would, or rather they would remain hermits to Duncan, is again an ironical gesture. So, Lady Macbeth's conversation with Duncan are filled with adjectives connoting excess and vastness. And Shakespeare presents her gratitude in hyperbolic terms. She says that she would remain devoted to Duncan forever and would pray for him forever. Right after this, Duncan inquires, "Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We coursed him at the heels and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well." Duncan now inquires. Now, normally what happens is that whenever there is a guest in the house, it is the man of the house who goes out to welcome the guest. The host actually meets the guest first, and then the hostess is introduced. Over here, it is queer, it is strange that there is no sign of Macbeth to greet Duncan. It is Lady Macbeth who does everything on his behalf. The question that comes to our mind is why? Maybe because Macbeth was still too vacillating, was still in a dilemma, and he would not be able to pretend as Lady Macbeth had instructed him to. That is the reason why Lady Macbeth chose to welcome the guest herself instead of allowing her husband. So, when Duncan asks where is the Thane of Cawdor, he also inquires, he also informs that they had been riding quite close to one another, and he had intended to reach the castle before him. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath holp him to his home before us. A metaphor of spur has been used over here. A spur is supposed to be a spike in the boot of a horse rider, with which it hits the belly of the horse and makes it gallop faster. Here it is not the literal spur that Duncan is talking about, but the love of Macbeth acted as a spur and made him move faster, ride faster, and reach his castle earlier than Duncan and his followers. Hath holp him to his home before us. So his love helped him to reach his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guest tonight. So Duncan now accepts the hospitality and says that he had come to rest for the night at. Now, when Duncan addresses Lady Macbeth as the fair and noble hostess, unfailingly the words of the witches and that of Macbeth in Act 1, Scene 1 and Scene 3 come to our mind. The parallel to fair is foul. So Duncan addresses Lady Macbeth as fair, but we know that she is anything but fair. She is foul. So once again, there is a dramatic irony over here. Lady Macbeth, your servants ever have theirs, themselves, and what is theirs incompt to make their audit at your Highness's pleasure, still to return your own. Incompt is supposed to be given account of, bound to render an account of. So, whatever we have is yours and for your use. We are your servants, and as servants, whatever we have, whatever belongs to us is yours and for your use. We are only returning to you what already belongs to you. Lady Macbeth impresses Duncan with her glib talk, and Duncan, "Give me your hand, conduct me to mine host. We love him highly and shall continue our graces toward him. By your leave, hostess." So give me your hand. I'm so grateful for whatever you have told me. Give me your hand. He intends to take the hand of Lady Macbeth to kiss it as a sign of his gratitude, and asks him to be conducted to Macbeth, the host. And he once again confirms that he loves Macbeth very dearly and would continue to be gracious towards him. And then he takes the leave of the hostess, takes the permission of the hostess, and leaves the stage. With that, we come to the close of Act 1, Scene 6. And as I told you earlier, that the purpose served by this scene is to enhance the dramatic irony. Although there is high-strung tension in the scenes before and after Scene 6, nonetheless, in spite of providing dramatic relief, the scene helps in enhancing the tension a little. Because of the dramatic ironies present, we get to see the gullibility of Duncan as a king. He is filled with all the good qualities, but he was very naive. And that naivety has been taken the benefit of by his noble, the Thane of Cawdor, Macbeth, and his wife. So, with that we come to the end, and I'll meet you soon with Act 1, Scene 7. Don't go anywhere, because Scene 7 is the most important scene of the expository act. It will help us to have a view, a further and a more poignant view of the characters of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, and how they overcome their initial hesitation, how Macbeth overcomes it in order to make up his mind to commit regicide. That's all for today. Stay well, stay subscribed, and don't forget to like, share and comment. Bye-bye.